Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more relationship stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, that subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. It really helps out the channel and I can never express that enough. And let's crack on with today's first story. Now, this story comes from a throwaway account and it's titled, "Girlfriend Wanted an Open Relationship. She got with a guy and now is refusing to let me go on my date." Hey all, after searching here I've noticed this isn't the first time this situation has come up and have been reading these stories for a while and wanted to contribute. This happened a couple of years back, so may not be verbatim, but I'll do my best. I, 42 male, have been with my girlfriend, 39 female, for around 8 years now. I always thought our relationship was strong and stable. We moved in together around year 2. We seemed to talk about everything in our lives and the sex always seemed to be great. Seems weird typing that on Reddit, but it is what it is. I would say that the only downside to our relationship is my job. However, I love my job. I work as a fireman for our local department and have done so for as many years as we've been together. The problem is the odd hours that my job brings. I'm on call a lot, and with the country I'm in, I find myself attending fires frequently and then returning at odd hours and needing sleep, etc. My girlfriend says she understands it, but she does get frustrated by it, due to my lack of energy sometimes. I've considered getting a 9 to 5 to counter this, but I can't bring myself to do it. The job pays decently and well, I love it. Well, today, out of the blue, she starts discussing open relationships and a friend who's done similar and how well it went for them. Alarm bells were already ringing in my head and I just kind of said good for them and changed the subject, but it came up several times during the evening and then again after having some fun together. Wouldn't it be fun to do it with other people, yet still having each other for life? I sat there thinking for a moment and wasn't mad or anything, just asked straight up, "Is that what you want?" And she kind of ummed a bit and then said it could be fun. I asked her if she already had someone in mind, as that seemed to be bugging me the most, and she said no. I remember thinking at the time, and I know this will likely sound stupid to most, but if I refuse her now, is she just going to do it anyway behind my back? So I just told her I'm not 100% comfortable with the idea and will have a think. Again, this sounds extremely strange, I know. We're both very sexually active people with a high drive, so I thought to myself, you know what, if she gets what she needs and I can do as I please, and we carry on as partners, then we'll see how it works. But I suggested that we set some kind of boundaries, that if eventually it makes us uncomfortable, then we'll stop and discuss things further. She was immediately excited, which led to us having fun again and her telling me what she eventually may do, even mentioning a name, which I seemed to recognize from a past conversation. It was pretty fun though. Within 3 days, she mentioned how she wanted to go out for drinks after work with a colleague, and for this post I'll call him James, who, guess what, was mentioned before during our fun time. So, hiding my feelings of insecurity, I said okay, have a great evening, and went about my business, although in my head I wanted to put a stop to it there and then. The whole night I felt anxious. What's she doing, and if she's going with what we discussed? Is he better than me? Is she going to leave him for me? Stupid again, I know. So here I am, sat here wondering what the hell I've done, with my only justification is that she may have done it anyway. What would you have done in my situation? Now to me in this one, I think, if you're going to go into an open relationship, it needs to be something that you both 100% agree on. It needs to be dead certain that this is what you want. I don't think there can be any wiggle room for doubt, because that is just going to cause you insecurity like is happening right now. I know personally for me, just from my point of view, there's no way I would ever be able to do something like that. And I don't think, you saying, if I refuse her now, is she going to do it anyway behind my back? That's not a good thought process to have. I think you should have immediately made it known that you're not comfortable with this and go from there. And, is she still comfortable in your relationship? I know it's a real hard conversation to have, but is she still comfortable in your relationship? If you were to say no to this, is she going to miss this? Is she going to be resentful of you? Because to me, once again, it just doesn't feel like something that you're going to be able to get past with you being anxious about things and seeing how it's going. And I gotta say, alarm bells were ringing for me as well when you said you was having fun one night after you discussed this and she mentioned this James person. Then within those 3 days, she's going out for drinks with this person. Yeah, it just feels like the thoughts were already there about who she wanted to get with. It wasn't spontaneous or anything like that. But then OP carried on their post, which says, "So as you know, I've got myself in a bit of a pickle in terms of mine and my 8-year relationship with my girlfriend. I agreed to an open relationship and she went out for the evening with James, a co-worker whose name has popped up before. So 1 a.m. rolled around. I'm lying in bed watching, I can't even remember what, just staring at the screen, and I heard the door open and some banging around downstairs. I peeked my head over the banisters to see her shoes and bag laying there, so I popped down and she stood at our kitchen island drinking a glass of water. So I say, 'A good evening?' And she said not really, and we had a conversation, and the gist of it, you don't need to know the details, is that she did get intimate with James and it was disappointing. I felt like shit and good at the same time, but all I could say was, sorry to hear that. You coming to bed?' We got into bed and she was trying it on and I wasn't interested. The thought of her being with another man that evening didn't exactly excite me. Yes, I got what I asked for, blah blah blah, I know. Obviously, I didn't say that to her and we eventually went to sleep. Next day at work, in between calls, I tried out a dating app. I was honest with my details and seemed to meet someone really quickly. We had a chat. I explained that I wasn't looking for anything serious and we arranged to meet in a couple of days when I got some free time. I explained all this to my girlfriend and, well, she wasn't best pleased. Instantly coming out with, "So while you're at work, you were just looking for sex?" in a real angry tone. There was instant jealousy, so I replied, "What's wrong? You're not comfortable with this anymore." She walked off and I was left confused and wondering what the hell was going on, so I just left it. Later, she came back and apologized for going off on me like that, and maybe we should take it slow. And I didn't say anything and just continued to make dinner, pretty much knowing I still had this date in a couple of days. She talked about her disappointment with her evening and how she expected things, and again, a part of me was loving it but just nodded with the occasional damn. Things continued as normal till date day. I should have said I was continuing my date earlier. I know this, you know this, but I didn't. I left it till the last minute and she noticed I was getting ready to go out. Decent shirt, hair done, all the good stuff. "Where are you going?" she said to me. "Out on a date," I replied. "What? I thought we discussed this and we're taking it slow. You know how my evening went and how hurt and disappointed I am by it, so do you think it's fair or the right time to go out on a date now?" At which point, even knowing it wouldn't solve the situation, I said, "So you get to go and have your evening with James, have sex, and because you didn't enjoy it, I have to stop what I'm doing. I had planned a date. Do you think that's fair?" She said yes, and I can't believe the words coming out of your mouth, so inconsiderate of my feelings. It's like you've been wanting this our whole relationship. I said, "Me wanting this? You mentioned the guy you slept with the very same night we agreed to an open relationship. Think about what you were saying." She said, "Oh, I get it. Jealous of James." Then I said something really stupid. "From the evening you two had together, I don't think so." And then I chuckled to myself. Go on then, go see her if you want. Throw 8 years away for this. Now the series of mistakes continued. I went out to meet my date. We met at her place and she was extremely pleasant. We talked, she bought a pizza, and me being inexperienced wondered, do you normally eat before, you know? However, it gave me time to think and I let her know my situation and she was very understanding. Although keen, she said it's probably best you don't go ahead whilst having this drama going on, but would be keen to meet again. So we continued talking about our lives, not really knowing where this date was going anymore. Then the nightmare continued and there was a banging on the door. My girlfriend had tracked me through the app we both have and saw my car on her drive. She originally wanted it for safety when I'm out at work. Not sure how it makes either of us safe, but it made her comfortable. She banged away for a couple of minutes whilst I continually apologized for bringing this to her door. She was yelling through open windows, "We can hear you effing. Show your face." I'd only been there 30 minutes or so by this point, to which I then walked around the corner from the kitchen and could see my girlfriend's head through the window glaring at me. Good, was it? Where is she? She looked possessed. I said, let's go home. All I wanted to do was get her away from this poor woman's door. Not till I see her, and then continued to scream into the house through the window. I wanted to curl up and die. I could feel neighbors watching this shit show unravel. It was clear she was going nowhere, and without me knowing, my date had already phoned the police, who were pretty swift on the scene. I know one of them as well, so I had the pleasure explaining the whole situation to the officer I knew, and luckily I think no damage was caused and they sent girlfriend on her way, to which I said I would follow her back, which was against the police officer's advice. Date wasn't to be seen for the rest of that interaction, and I thought it was best that I didn't really say anything after what just happened. However, I later saw that I was completely blocked. Fair enough, I thought. Upon arriving home, she was sat in the living room, arms folded and face like thunder, and just stared at me. I said, what was that about? We said we could stop when I want. And I remember that very specifically because of the I in it. So I said, again, you were happy when this was all on your terms. Your date went bad and now suddenly you wanted to slow everything down and stop me from having a date. She replied, that was what we agreed. She was so adamant I thought I must be missing something here. I felt defeated and just wanted it to go away. And suddenly the door knocked behind me. James was here. She ran up to the door, opened it slightly and said, not now, and then shut it. I could see he stood there for a few seconds and then sat in the car down on the road. So, I said. She then said, well, you was gonna fuck someone, so why can't I? The logic of this was just baffling and I instantly felt defenses go up and told her what she was doing was getting revenge on me this evening for going out on a date, and she forgot she invited James and instead went around and caused a scene at someone's house who she doesn't know. With this, I called her unhinged and walked out the door while staring at James, who had his head down looking at his phone. I got in my car and left and headed to my mum's. She spent ages messaging and phoning me. The messages just seemed to escalate as time went on. Just walk out then, go on, run away. The next one said, come back, let's talk about this. I'm sure we can work through it. Next one said, 8 years, are you really throwing this away? Next one said, James is still outside, shall I let him in? Followed by, I will, seeing as you don't care. And the final one which just said, good night. Then the messages stopped, but I really didn't care. I sat there drinking a beer feeling like, where do I go from here? I was 99% sure the relationship was over, but lots of questions of what will our friends and family think? Do I tell them the whole story? What will they think then? We never did get back together. The following day I sent her a message that I'm sorry it had come to this and I really and still do love her, but I don't think I could move past what happened between us and the way she acted and spoke to me that evening. I then blocked her number. Told the situation to my mum, which was awkward as you can imagine, but she seemed understanding and even said she will relay what the family needs to know. She then also blocked my girlfriend. I've only seen her a handful of times since then, and while she did give me an evil eye, that was all she did. You can stop here if you were here for the drama, as it ended there, but the story did continue a little bit. You know my date, she's called Sarah. Not real name of course, but she did unblock me and message me a month later asking me how things are going. Of course I replied and we ended up meeting again. Only this time more traditional. We went to the cinema and then had a meal together and no sex that evening. We've now been together since then and I feel she understands me more than my ex. I explained the whole saga to her and she feels I was maybe gaslighted for some or all of my relationship, but I don't know. I'm just glad it's all behind me now. At least, I hope. Dramatic music. No, it's definitely behind me. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? How would you deal with it if it was you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to a cheeky little story. I'm going to finish this one from the Malicious Compliance subreddit from No Panic Prepper, who says, landlord tried to exploit me for free labor. It starts off saying, "I am renting a little house out past the suburbs of the city I'm currently working in. It is a little old and the appliances are a bit dated, but it was much cheaper than a 2-bedroom apartment downtown, and I move around every couple of years for work. My landlord lives out of state and doesn't have anyone local, so for the past year and a half I haven't talked to anyone. Just pay my rent on time and keep doing my thing. About 4 months ago, plumbing issues started popping up and 2 major appliances decided to give up the ghost. I notified my landlord via email and written letter. I rent a lot and have learned to abide by the exact wording in a lease. After several follow-up emails and phone calls, a local handyman showed up to look at everything and provided a quote. After receiving the quote for the parts plus labour, the landlord told me flat out that they will not be paying for the repairs. They said that since I am an engineer, they would allow me to purchase the parts, install them, and then deduct the cost of the repairs from my rent payment. They said it was either this or learn to make do. I was not super thrilled about this response. I replied back to them saying that if they were willing to deduct my time and cost of the parts from my rent, that I would get started immediately. Thank you very much. They were thrilled to hear it and asked me to send receipts for their records when everything is finished. Great, now to put together all the pieces and get to work. The first step was to file for an LLC with my current state. Next, I set up some cameras and borrowed a GoPro from one of my hiking mates. I was able to document all the repair process, from me watching YouTube videos of how to do things to me making multiple runs to the parts store to get the piece that I didn't know I needed. Here is the kicker. At my day job, I make over $50 an hour. That is what my time is valued at. The final bill for everything has worked out to be about 12% higher than the quoted cost, and the landlord is very upset. But my lawyer, added to the email chain, has kept them very civil. And I mean, fair play to OP for doing that. I kind of feel like their time is valued at more than that. It's almost like an emergency call out, double that price maybe. And someone mentioned in the comments below this that a lot of landlords, especially landlords that try to do things cheap and get away with stuff, won't, house lawyers simply because, they could screw them over basically. And a commenter said, about that, and then went on to say, and they're probably going to be doing this with engineers in the future now as well. And I think seeing that initial response saying that they would allow you to purchase the parts and install them because you're an engineer, which it turns out down below in the comments, OP is a software engineer. I think that kind of response would piss me off instantly, but I'm glad OP did what they did. What about you guys? Have you ever dealt with a landlord like that in the past? Let me know down in the comments below. As always, I love to hear about it. And just a huge thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending your time with me today, getting involved in the channel, in the stories, showing your love to me, the stories, and one another as well is absolutely incredible. So thank you so much. And as I said at the very start, if you do have a moment of your time and you do enjoy Reddit stories, why not consider subscribing today by clicking that little subscribe button. Yeah, I know, I'm pushing my luck here. So close to 100k though. Anyway, I hope I will see you in the next one. Take care, guys, and much love to you.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today